Thanks for joining us today here on America's Retirement Headquarters. It is the home of the Retirement Guys formula and America's Medicare Associates with Scott Kerschner and Dave Ross. The number 419-794-3030 and the website is arhq.com. Do you know the basic facts about Social Security? A new poll by MassMutual found 41% of near retirees, well, they flunked a Social Security quiz of 13 true and false statements. Another 37% got a D. This really shouldn't come as a surprise, as Social Security, well, it can be pretty complicated. But guys, I have to wonder, are you surprised by what they didn't know?
Well, I'm going to tell a quick story here. So I mentioned earlier that I took a train from Toledo to Chicago. The train was full. First time I've ever done this, actually. We had, I think, 4 stops from here to Chicago. But I sat next to a guy, and as most people that work with me know that I'm a talker, and I can strike up a conversation with just about anybody. The last 2 hours of the train ride went by so fast I didn't even realize we were pulling into the stop. So I sat next to a guy that was 62 years old, and we struck up a conversation. He was a contractor, commercial contractor, and he was 62. And I looked at the guy, and I'm like, good Lord, I thought the guy was in his 70s. He works outside. He's a laborer. Worked hard. You could tell, when we shook hands, I could tell that he had a good firm handshake in that. And we started talking, and he brought it up, actually, and he was talking about Social Security. And he says, yeah, I think I'm 62 now. I think I'm going to sign up for Social Security. And I obviously I had a grimace on my face. And he says, well, why that look? I says, well, actually, I work very closely with a lot of people with Medicare and Social Security benefits. And I says, well, if you don't mind me asking a couple of questions, why don't you let me find out why you want to do that? So I asked him some questions, and there is no doubt in my mind that he would have gotten maybe an F plus, but he definitely would have failed because he had no clue on some of the things about Social Security. He had no idea. And one of the things we do is we ask about genetics, right? And, his dad is still alive. His dad is 92. He's a veteran. His mom is 90. And I said to the guy, I said, you've got really good genes here. Are you sure? And the guy was healthy. I mean, he looked really physically fit. Are you sure you want to take it at 62? I said, because you have some pretty good genes. You may live to be, 88, 89, 90, 95, who knows? And you're giving up so much at 62 years old. He had no idea about that. So, technology, I get on my phone and I log into the SSA.gov and I said, here, if you won, have you created my Social Security account? He says, no. I said, well, let's do that. If you got to make, he says, sure, I don't care. Let's do it. So I created my Social Security account sitting right there on the train. We got into his Social Security statement, and I showed him the different levels of benefits, and if he puts that off, how he can, take advantage of that. He's got, a couple of kids. He's got a wife, and I explained to him a lot of the different things with Social Security, and the guy couldn't have been more thankful. He actually was on the train for 24 hours. He got on in Massachusetts and was headed to Chicago, and then meeting up with his brother in Seattle. So the guy had a long trip ahead of him. But so Chris, you asked, are we surprised? After that conversation I had with that guy, I'm not really surprised. And a lot of the people that come into the office and ask me, when should I sign up and how should I sign up and things like that, I'm not surprised at all that people would flunk that. Dave, when you talk to people, I know that that's a big part of your conversation as well, because Social Security benefits are a piece of the investment pie. They're not the whole pie, but they're a piece of that investment pie. How do you handle that?
Well, it's a very natural discussion in retirement planning. And it's like when we meet with people for the first time, we say, please have a copy of your Social Security statement, because it's going to be something we're going to want to talk about. And on that statement, it shows what this age 62 benefit is, what the full retirement age benefit is, and then the age 70. And when you start looking at the numbers, you see situations where at 70, if they optimize, it could be $800
Yes.
a month higher. And I don't know, you talk about your friend that you met. If he lives to be in his 90s, that's $100,000 of lost benefits.
Oh, no question.
If he turns it on at 62. So it's a part of an entire discussion that once you start looking at the retirement savings that people have, the decision they make regarding Social Security is an irrevocable decision. Once they've signed up, that's what they're going to get. And I've seen all kinds of situations where people were kind of floored in that in some cases, they lost their check for a while because they kept working.
Yeah, absolutely. And I told him about, if you take it at 62, you're locking in at that number, and you're not doing your spouse any favors whatsoever, because if for some reason you were to pass away prematurely, when I say that because of his genetics, right? You're kind of penalizing your spouse as well, So, and he had no idea about that. There were so many questions that I asked him that he just didn't know any of the details or any of the information at all. And, do yourself a favor before you turn that on or pull that switch to get Social Security started. Meet with us, have a talk. We may tell you, yeah, that's your best option. I've had the opposite. I've had a client where he flat out told me, yeah, I'm on borrowed time. And I said, what do you mean? He said, well, Dad died at 58, and, Mom died at 70, I think it was 70, and he was at 68 years old. He said, he was turning 65, and he says, I'm turning it on now because I just don't know, I'm on borrowed time. So do yourself a favor, talk to us, and we'll let you know what makes sense for you.
The saying, what you don't know can't hurt you. I don't actually know if that's ever true, but when it comes to Social Security, it is very much not true. What you don't know can be extremely detrimental as it pertains to the overall quality of your retirement. So if you want some more facts about your Social Security and how to claim it, when to claim it, great time to remind you that the people at the Social Security office, that's not what they're there for. They're there to help you process the paperwork and send you on your way, although it's not quite that quick. But sitting down and speaking with people ahead of time, like the team at America's Retirement Headquarters, can really help you optimize your Social Security as it pertains to the course of your retirement. 419-794-3030 is how you get started. 419-794-3030. Start developing that plan. You can also go to the website and schedule a time there as well. arhq.com.